I said the last time that I did a video that I was going to do voiceover to explain how I did, like how I got through the daily challenges. So that's what this one's going to be. And it is longer this time. But that's because, like I said before, I am not a perfect card player. I've just found strategies that work for me that help me refine my skills. So let's get to it. Okay. All right, Klondike. So this was my favorite. This was the one I knew how to play the earliest. And I always try to start off with condensing and moving around cards before I even draw the deck. And then when I check the deck, if it's a single draw, I pretty much leave my single draw cards and I go for trying to open up all of the cards that are actually laid out on the field, per se. So, because I have unlimited access to all of the cards in the deck in a single draw setting. So that's kind of what I did here. And once I have an ace, I automatically know I can get rid of my twos, put my twos right up because nothing depends on my twos. So once I have an ace up there, the two can go as well. So yeah, that's kind of the strategy here. And I don't know if some people think using the undo is cheating, but if they give you the tool, is it really cheating? They give it to you to use, so I use it. Sometimes I abuse it, but it gets the job done. So I don't always like to take up my empty spaces on the board or on the field, whatever, because sometimes I like to leave them open in case I'll need it for a different king later on. Like I was gonna move one of my red kings there, but it ended up being more fit for the black kings that I had up in my deck. So it's kind of what I did there. I can't even remember what the goal was for this, and I don't have it showing. Oopsies. Ta-da! Challenge solved. And moving on to Spider Solitaire, my least favorite of all of them. I think it's mostly because it's all one color. And, well, until you get to the harder levels, then it's all the same color. But then, unfortunately, the layout's different. You have to do same color instead of alternating colors, and I think that's just why I don't like it. But kind of use the same concept that I use for Klondike. I try to work on stacking and breaking down the deck before I go for a draw. And yeah, that's kind of what I do for Spider as well. I'm always trying to make sure I get things into an order so that I don't end up with a mix match stack, because you can't move those stacks. You have to dissect those stacks, which is a pain in the butt. Also, my least favorite challenges for Spider are solve the deck challenges, just because they do take longer. I typically tend to take between 3 and 5 minutes to finish a solve the deck challenge for a Spider match, which it just takes so long. I don't like it, but I get it done anyways because it's a challenge. I also like to move my stacks to get as clean of a whole stack as possible. So like I just did there, if I have a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 on a jack and I have a king, queen, jack, I'll move the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 to the king, queen, jack so that I can clear the stack easier and it won't get mix matched when I draw. Yeah, see, I'm still getting used to the horizontal layout. You'll see in some of the later parts I keep accidentally hitting undo board when that's not what I meant to do, but I'll get used to it eventually. It's kind of fun looking back, trying to figure out what on earth I was doing when I was going through these challenges. Because sometimes I really don't know what I was doing. So that was the final draw of the deck. So now I can just work on breaking down the stacks, and I don't have to worry about making sure there's no empty spaces for a draw, because that's the other thing with spiders. If you have any empty spaces and you still have cards left to draw from the deck, it won't let you draw until you fill up those spaces. On to free cell. Okay, so I don't always like the solve the decks with free cell, especially when they're expert levels. Then I'm really not looking forward to them quite so much. But when it's medium or easy levels, they're not quite so bad. Yeah, sometimes with free cell, I really have to kind of just take a seat back and kind of just look at the board and see where I have everything laid out. Especially when they're looking for specific things in the challenge, like instead of a solve the deck, like getting to the Queen of Hearts or something, then I really need to evaluate my board and figure out where everything's laid out. Because I don't want to make a whole alternating stack on top of a low value card that I need if I can't really move it there. That ain't no good. Another long pause to look at my board. I don't really know exactly what I was thinking about in that moment. Another long pause. But I feel like that happens a lot for free cell and for pyramid. I tend to do this a lot because you really have to, like, all the cards are laid out for you for the most part, at least in free cell they are. So you can really observe where everything's sitting and figure out where you want to move everything. Contemplating again. Yeah, I don't know where exactly I could have gone at this point. Because my threes are stuck. That's what I'd really need to go next. So yeah, what I do is if I get stuck, I just leave it and go on to the next one. Keep the brain pumping. Because if I get stuck in like a one-track mind, then I'm never going to be able to find my way through the challenge. So the best thing to do is just to table it, come back to it with a fresh set of eyes, and then you can really tackle it. I totally missed a 7-6 right there that I didn't even notice I had missed the first time. Wow. I never really got to look back and see, how I could have done better before, because I never recorded myself doing these before. It was just always once I got it done, mission accomplished, I'm done. Yeah, I kind of played myself on that first board. because I ended up with 2 9s on top of the 2 4s that I needed to match them with, so I really couldn't go anywhere. I did not properly evaluate my board before I started knocking cards out, so oopsie. This board went better, I think, than the first one. Yeah, because I cleared it, obviously, and I did not clear the first one, so. Yeah, also with Pyramid, especially once you get to the higher levels like Hard and Expert, I'm really looking for any card that's out on the board more than twice, because then you really have to be careful about which matches you make without trapping yourself. So that's another reason why I tend to take a good long look at the board. I think this might have been another one where I got myself in a bind with my 9s and my 4s again. Oh, wait, nope, nope, just kidding. I think I'm okay on the 9s and 4s. Oh, no, wait, I'm lying. Because there's 1 4 out, 1 4 up. So, yep, leaving, resetting that one, and starting fresh. See, I had 3 9s up there with 2 4s under my first. That's just no good. So, left it, trying the next one. On to Tri-Peaks. I really like Tri-Peaks. But I think I struggled with this one too. That's okay. With daily challenges, the time it takes to finish things doesn't really matter, so I'm never afraid to kind of, reset, try different paths, go for different matches that I hadn't done the previous time, even if I didn't think that that was going to be the way to beat a particular challenge. Which you'll see that. It's coming. And I once again put myself in a bind. But it's an expert challenge, so no, it's not an expert challenge. I'm an expert. It's a medium challenge. JK LOL. But at this point, I don't know what I was doing at this point. Oh. Okay. So I go back to free cell, because like I said, fresh set of eyes. Go back to tackle it again. I wonder if I might try in the future doing the voiceover while I'm doing, I don't know, I feel like that'll just throw off my concentration. Because I tend to breeze through a lot of these levels. Ooh, what am I doing? Using my lovely undo tool. Fabulous. See, at this point, I'm not wanting to waste my open space on a short stack if I can move something else there to bring out a crucial card like that 3 of clubs. Like low level numbers, you want to try and get those. You want to try and get the lower ones up early because if they get stuck under a high stack and you don't have a lot of space, you're going to get trapped. And sometimes you also have to find your way around those based on the limits that are set for you, based on how many cards you have in holding. And just like that. Ta-da! So yeah, sometimes it just takes revisiting a challenge with a different perspective, fresh set of eyes to really take it to a different direction. Because I find once I take whatever first direction that I take, if I keep trying to replay the challenge or the level over and over again, I'm going to keep falling into that same path. And if it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second time or the third or the fourth. So that's why I kind of hop to other challenges and then revisit after the fact. And there's me with my struggles with the new layout. Oopsies. Being careful with my 9s and my 4s this time because I know that was, oh, keep touching things. Yeah, so you can see that I'm a little more calculated with what I'm doing this time, just to make sure that I don't get myself in any traps. Like I just undid that jack because I wanted to make sure that I was able to take that 2 off of the other jack so I could make that little matchup right there. And bam, clear the first board, which I wasn't able to clear last time, so that definitely puts me on a better footing for finishing the challenge. Gave myself a minute to evaluate my next board. Make sure I don't put myself into any traps there. Yeah, if I've got like 2 queens and one sitting on top of an ace, I really like to get that queen first because then as soon as it's moved, I've got the match for the other one. So I try to do that a lot with matching cards that present themselves that way. And especially when it's a score-based challenge, I do like to eliminate any matches that sit next to each other in my deck. As long as I know that I don't need them out on the board, I'll get rid of them because that just adds to my score. But if it's another challenge that has something more to do with completing a certain number of boards or anything like that, I won't really be too focused on that. And now we're back to tri-peaks. And I feel like I kind of fell into the same trap as I did the first time I came back, which, you know, it happens. Sometimes when you try to come back with fresh eyes, you still end up back in the same rut. But that's when you kind of have to start, I don't know how I would describe it. I guess going for the oddball moves that you know, maybe initially kind of decided to overlook because you thought they wouldn't work out. And that's when I start going, okay, it's time to experiment with some different ones. See, I missed that first board because I think I fell into the same issue as I did the first time. And I think right here I fall into another one, because there is nothing left in my deck to match a 6. So I think at this point I just decided to try again. So start fresh from the beginning, because I didn't have that first board down. And I think that's my first misstep, is I really need to make sure I get that first board cleared, because then it gives me more room for error later on, so that I can get all 11 sixes that they want me to get. So I got this board this time. Woohoo! Took a different route that I, hadn't really thought about the first time. And the second board played out pretty well once I took the right steps for it. 5 down, 6 to go. And then I think I got myself in another trap again. But I still had a deal left, so figured I'd put myself in the clear enough to get those last 3. And I only had 1 left to get, just 1. And I think my big mistake here was I really should have hit undo last move and reset that last board, but instead I hit try again, which started me back from the very beginning, so I had to remember the paths that I took for the first 2 boards in order to clear them so that I could get to that third board and make sure I got all 11 of the 6s that I needed for the challenge, which the moment I hit that try again and saw the new screen, I was kicking myself because I was like, man, I gotta do all of that work over again. So don't be too antsy to just automatically hit try again. Think about what you're doing before you do that, because you might already be in a pretty good position, especially if you're not in an event challenge where you're timed. Even then, you might just be better off hitting undo last move, because they've changed how they time it for the events now anyway. So, undid that board. Accidentally hit undo board, like I was saying earlier. Still getting used to the horizontal setting on my phone while I play the game. And I think I played myself again right here, and I knew it, so I undid the board, went to try again. Tinkering around with which cards I'm deciding to knock out, so I can find a better path that will allow me to clear the whole board. And that's much better. I'm doing some moves because I figure I might need to use it for some other card later down the line. Board 2 done. And I think this was where I got myself tripped up last time. So this is where I really started experimenting, checking what my options would be if I picked certain matches. Marvelous. 3 left. And this is where I kind of got cocky and ended up, making some moves that ended up putting me in a trap just shy of being able to accomplish the challenge. So a little tinkering here as well. Mission accomplished. Challenge complete. Got 11 sixes and 2 deals. And that is the whole spread of daily challenges for July 6th, y'all. We did it.